BSing, and you say, man, can you believe that? Did you hear about, everyone heard about it? You believe the price of lumber, what's going on? Oh my goodness. And they say it's going up another 20%. I mean,
Mhm.
it's killing us. I got friends that they're working on houses and they can't do this, they can't do that. And, and you just talk about it. And then when you're ready to give them the offer, you could pretty much say, look, you could go over all the repairs that you're going to do nicely and go over all the nice things about the house also. You want to make sure you do that. So it don't
Right.
look like you're just being a prick, right? And then you can say, look, if, man, I wish this was like 3 months ago because the prices were the same. But right now, something that's going to cost me, and you get them to agree on the price. Usually I would have been able to fix this house all up for 35, $40,000. And right now, we're probably around 50, 55,000, somewhere in that ballpark. And you talk to him, you try to get him, see where he's at. You don't want to stay on top of it too long if he's not listening. Sometimes they'll say, "Yeah, you're right. I know." It's crazy, isn't it? And that way and then you could give them that low offer and get just kind of an explanation of why it's that low offer. And when you pitch the deal out to your buyers, who cares? Let them worry about it, right? It's up to them because every buyer, some could do it for 20, some could do it for 80, or- and whatever price you think it's worth, they fix it up nice, they might be able to get more, so
By the time it's fixed up, especially if everything keeps jumping like this, and
yep, 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 yep. So yeah, so that's
right now,
definitely you just got to try to price them. That's why I see a lot of wholesalers are just pricing these houses so high that I wrote down like a handful of them, and I'm gonna watch them and see what they ever if they ever sell and what they sell for, because I don't think they're gonna sell for what they're asking, not even close. So
Christian, what do you mean by that? Like, at what point?
Yeah, so I have a motivated seller that's worried about me signing the contract. So like before we even meet about the property, right? He says, I don't want this contract to be assigned because he knows he's gonna get lowballed, right?
not necessarily. What probably happened is someone was there before you and they warned people of wholesalers, you know, and said,
Mm-hmm.
look, they made a low offer. The guy went and accepted, or he did this, or he did that. And he says, and he goes, I got a few other people that I want to look at the house. And he goes, okay, so make sure anyone that comes out, you tell them that you're not going to allow them to assign it, stuff like that.
Well, or he had it, somebody contracted, a wholesaler contracted it and couldn't sell it.
That
And
too.
so
Yep.
now he's like, okay, well, I don't want to sell to a wholesaler because it's not a done deal. It's not necessarily that they expect a low ball, like they're gonna get a low ball from any investor really, but you have to ask him why. Just ask him why. Did you ask him why he doesn't want it to be assigned?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's most likely he just wants to know it's a for sure thing. What I tell sellers, and when you start committing to things to sellers, you want to be pretty sure you can perform, or sure you can perform. But I'll tell them, look, like, a lot of wholesalers, that's what they are. And I'll call them out. Like, I know this guy in Detroit, his name's Todd Chun, and he gets houses under contract, and he doesn't even know he just goes and just tries to post it on Craigslist and find buyers for it, and he never can, you know. And then he starts a coaching thing and tries to teach. Like, it's crazy. It's just unbelievable. And I'll pull up a picture of Todd's face, and they're like, "Man, that guy, like, I would never do business with him." And then I get the deal because I'm like, "Look, I know what I'm doing. I know investors." But on a serious note, like, I work with a group of investors, and sometimes we sign in different names, different company names. So we just need that in there in case my other partner is going to bring more money to the table. So, and do compare it to other wholesalers like that. Like, some people don't, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to make a 20,000 on top of what they're giving you. Like, I work with a lot of other people. We're going to get you this price. but I don't know which company name we're gonna sign in yet. This just gives us the right to change LLCs at closing. And usually I don't have a problem with that, but you can also go like, you can bring a buyer, say, okay, well, look, I can take that out of my clause, but I need to bring my partners through right now. Then, like, can I meet out there with a couple of my partners? And then you can tell your partners about the deal, your buyers, and meet out there and try to sell it to them before you even contract it, which can be dangerous. Like, you got to be careful because you're not technically allowed to do that because you're marketing a house without having it under contract. But if you got to bring a buyer with you, just even get their opinion on it, and they say, oh, this is a good deal, I'd buy it 100 all day, then okay, you lock it up for 100, you go try to sell the contract to somebody else, and if you can't, then that buyer will buy it for 100. So even just getting like a commitment from a buyer can make it safer, I guess. But
How
yeah,
good-
you really just have to ask him why he doesn't want that in there.
And
Gotcha.
how strong of a deal is it, Christian?
This is the deal we talked about, the proof of funds. It's a pretty strong deal where I'm planning on meeting up with the guy sometime this week or next week.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Yeah.
what is it? What does he want for it approximately? Do you have any idea yet?
Yeah, I have it on my Excel sheet. Give me 1 second. This guy, he wants 125, ARV is 185. I'm planning to pitch 90. Right. And I know he was worried about me assigning it.
You're planning on, he wants 125 and you're gonna pitch 90, right?
That's MAO. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lower if I could, but
Yeah,
already low enough. Yeah.
well, if you got it for 90 and it's worth 185, you got a pretty good deal there, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would, if you could get it, if he's coming, to where you're at 90,000, I'm just trying to think. So do you have buyers right now? Do you have a buyers list?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Do you have buyers that would buy this property or you think they would?
I think a couple buyers would.
Yeah. I mean, if you got buyers that you trust, like I got lots of buyers that I would just say, look, like the one I closed this week, it was a probate through an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my buyer, say, look, I'm getting it for 20. I was selling it for 35. I'll sell it to you for 30. You close it and you pay me 10 grand on the side. My name's not on anything. And I just know the guy's gonna pay me. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how much of a trust we have. And he zelled me I gave him he zelled it to me already.
Oh, wow.
So you kind of gotta find someone maybe like that. That's a possibility,
And that's actually what I did on the deal I'm closing in a couple of days. I found a property in Garland and I found this cash buyer at a real estate meetup. And he's a pretty good guy. So I just said, before I logged into the contract, I said, here's the numbers, here's the address. What would you pay for this? Right. He gave me a number. I took 20K off. I locked it up. And then we're gonna close in a few days. So I get what you're saying.
Is
And
he
the
paying
real
you on the side, or is he paying you on the HUD for that one, Christian?
I think the HUD.
Okay. And if the deal's good enough,
Did you do an assignment agreement?
Yeah.
Okay, then he's probably paying you on the HUD if you did an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But if the deal's good enough in Texas, somebody at one of those meetups would partner with you on it. You just tell someone like, and you're still meeting people obviously, but if the deal is good enough, if those are the actual numbers for the deal, I would buy it for 90, and we could list it on the MLS and then split the profit. Like, that's an option too. So but somebody locally is probably going to be able to verify that quicker than I can because they know the area better. But if it's a really solid deal at 90 and you do get him to agree to 90, I would be down to do that. Like, why wouldn't I? And I could put up the money. But try to find, if like a buyer who you think would be willing to do that with you, even, reach out to someone like that. You just kind of have to get creative with it. But there's definitely ways to get around that. You just, number one, figure out why the seller does not want there to be an assignment. in their contract, you know?
And you could, at your meetups, always look for small, like private lenders that lend their own money, and maybe work out in the beginning, say, look, if I come out with a deal that has 50%, I'm getting it for 50% of the ARV. Would you want to partner on something like that? You could buy it, and then we could maybe clean it out and list it on the market. And you might even do 50-50, split on that one. He's putting all the money in it.
Mhm.
And then after you do a few of those, that way you got the money. Now think about, you could go into pretty much any house and say, look, I'm buying this, right? If it's that good of a deal, own, but be careful. Don't be buying stuff that's close and not that great of a deal.
Yeah,
Someone else's money. You're only the great deals. So just another way you could think about it.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've done deals with people where I've bought them, like newer wholesalers. I bought their deals and we just relist them. So it is worth it. It's super worth it for me because all I have to do is write the check, just like Todd was saying about the hard money lender. And I want to have that opportunity otherwise, put my money to work, and you get to make money without any risk. Because in that sense, if something were to go wrong, I would just take the loss, because it's going to be in my name and everything anyway. So, it would just be what it is. But I would do my due diligence before then. But yeah, if it's a good enough deal, man, there's definitely a way to make it happen.
Are you saying relisted on the market as is?
Yeah. Yep. Or,
Gotcha.
if it's got, it just kind of depends, but I obviously want to do a flip down there. I don't have any contractors down there, but if
Mhm.
there's a bunch of junk out there, or there's, we have a house right now, in Dearborn that's got like dog poop, like right at the front door of the house. Like if it was just a clean out, buy a dumpster, clean out the dog poop, clean out all the trash in the house, that can be worth it for sure. Especially if it's in good enough shape where you can get it, a loan on it.
Uh-huh.
Then it's hard to, you just gotta keep wanting to do the next thing. Well, then I might as well carpet and paint it. Well, then I might as well change the cabinets. I might as well do this. But it's easy, bare minimum, you can easily make money. And I've done it just buying and relisting as is without touching the property. Because
Gotcha.
you're gonna just reach such a big buyer network on the MLS.
Gotcha. So, I'm definitely planning on asking him why he doesn't want me to assign it, but if he chose to, could he ask like the title company to say, hey, is my buyer assigning this to somebody else? Would they give them that information, do you think?
Well, he's gonna see on the HUD that it's not your name buying, because it shows the title insurance is under Kevin's name or whoever's name that you assign it to. So
Mm,
there's no way that he's going to think you bought it at closing if you're assigning it. That's what, so, what people do in that instance is they double close. So I don't know if title companies do this in Texas or not. It's not really legal. I don't think that some title companies do it. Or you can get transactional funding from people. Again, this is something I would be more than happy to do. I say, okay, Christian, I'll lend you that 90 grand, but you have to pay back in 24 hours. You have to pay me $2,000. So I wire you the 90 grand. You close on it. 2 hours later, your buyer closes on it for 110 or 110 grand, right? You make 18 grand. You wire me or I get paid out at closing because I own the house, whatever. You can find people that do transactional funding, or you can sometimes and ask your title company. Title companies will let the buyer's funds close both transactions. So like your buyer will bring $110,000 at closing, and the title company will use that money to close on it in your name, and then they'll use that money again for your buyer to buy it. So then at that point, the seller would only see your name on there because you wouldn't technically be assigning it. You would be, but I guarantee, but they really don't care if you're assigning it because they don't care. Like I tell every seller I'm signing. In a sense, I tell every single seller, hey, I'm not signing this deal. My partner's signing it. That's all a signing is. You're giving somebody else the rights to sign for it. So they don't care about that. He's just worried about it not closing, pretty much. Is 90% of the time. So, if you want, why would he care if you sign it, you sign for it, or if I sign for it? He doesn't care. He just wants to get his money and know that it's going to close.
gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, but hey Carson, I know they used to do that a lot, is what you explained, where you're using the buyer's money to double close it pretty much. Um, I can't find a title company that will touch that anymore. Do you
I
know
think
any?
there's one in Grand Blanc that does it. I was hearing that from somebody, but
Yeah,
it's illegal, I'm pretty sure. Which you wouldn't be liable for it as a wholesaler, but the title company would be. So yeah, that's why I said I would be very surprised if you could find someone to do that. But no dry double closes in Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah, I know I hear it's illegal in Michigan, and I believe that. I just keep hearing one title company. I'll have to double check with them. That somebody said they did that for them, but they could have mistook it or something. I've never done it.
Here's
Double close.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
can double close, you can't use the funds
Yeah,
from one to the other,
right.
That's
so,
yeah, that's what I meant by dry double close.
yeah.
A double close, yeah, Jay. Yeah, a double close is not illegal. A double close where the middleman, let's say I'm buying a property from Todd, then Randy's buying it from me right after. I can't bring no money to closing and have Randy's money be used for me to buy it from Todd and then also use Randy's money to buy it back from me. So, I would have to bring my own funds and from me, and then Randy would have to bring his own separate funds. So there'd be a total of, whatever the amount would be.
Yeah. Here's a tip that to help out your buyers. I say that I tell this to a lot of my buyers, and it seems, it makes it sound like which you are, you're helping them or protecting them a little bit. What I'm talking about, let's say I got a deal for 20,000 and I'm assigning it to someone for 30, 10,000 assignment fee. So 30 grand. If you don't say anything, the title company is going to get all the docs together and they're going to get title insurance. And the title insurance is only going to be for the $20,000. It's not going to be for the 30 that they're actually buying it for. But the seller can request to have it raised up to 30. And it's only going to cost them like $30 or $40 more of the title insurance. So why not? Okay. So a lot, I would do that. You're better off because if something goes haywire, maybe there was a phony deed, which I seen happen recently, where there's, the guy that really sold it wasn't the guy, and you're only covered for 20 grand. Okay. Nothing they could do to you for the assignment. I mean, you're out of it. You didn't do anything wrong, but it kind of protects them in a small sense. Okay. And
You said the seller can request that or the buyer?
the buyer, did I say the seller? I'm sorry. The buyer can request for it to be raised up to 30,000. Okay. Or you could do it for them if they want, all they do is say, please, my buyer wants title insurance for the amount of 30,000 instead of 20,000. And they're happy to do it because they're making another $50 or $60, the title company is. Why the title companies don't push that on every deal, I don't know. Because that's more money for them, but they don't because they're not that smart. That's why. But yeah, I always, here's what I got burnt one time. I bought a house with a partner in Rosedale Park. We got a killer deal on it. It didn't need a lot of work, and let's say I think we bought it for 40. I should have known right then. Rosedale Park for 40 was a joke because we were selling this thing, and this was a couple years ago before the market was crazy like it is now. But we were selling it for like 140, 150. We got it for 40. All we did was put 15 grand into it. So we got 55 into it, and we're selling it for like 140. It was a killer deal. Once we got the closing, threw it on the market, someone in a different state comes up and says, I'm the owner. And so we could have fought somebody and paid all this money, but we only were covered for the 40 grand. All right. So what I thought, and I was going to do, I thought I had a bright idea. Why can't I get coverage for 40 plus the amount of money that I think I'm gonna be putting into it. But they wouldn't, yeah, I guess you can't do that. That would have made sense to me. But so that's one thing as a flipper, you just don't know. You're buying a house and you're hoping the title company did a good job and you do have title insurance, but the money you put into that house in the next 2 or 3 months and then you go to sell it, if there is a problem, you're not covered for that 20 or 30,000. I mean, you would have to get an attorney and sue somebody and things like that, but you're really not. I ended up losing that money on that deal. It was either pay an attorney $5,000 or it was like a 50-50 chance we were gonna win. So
Yeah.
just walked away,
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. Todd, Jay said, would you mind telling him how you structured the geranium flip?
Oh, how I structured the geranium flip, for sure. So is this Jay, my partner, Jay? On I got it from you, right, Jay? I don't see
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you
What's
doing?
going on, bro?
Good, good. All right, so here's what happened. So Jay is a wholesaler, and he brought this deal to me. He talked to the guy, real nice guy. He was pre-foreclosure. This is in Brownstown. And pre-foreclosure, he was behind probably 10 to 12 to $15,000, something like that. And the guy wanted, if I remember, Jay, and if you remember something that I'm not saying right, just let me know. I think he wanted 50 grand in his pocket, 50 or 60, something like that. And I'm trying to think of what he owed. I think he owed 140 or
Like
150.
130, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
130,
that.
somewhere around there.
Yep. Actually, I think it was 140 he owed. He probably said he owed 130, but it actually was 140. So I went out to the house, made an appointment, nice guy, and the house was in really good condition. Brand new kitchen, granite. It just, you had to wipe the walls down, cigarette smoke like crazy. But floors were in good shape. Anyway, long story short, um, we settled with, I think we settled for $40,000 that I was going to give him. And it's pre-foreclosure that he was not making his payment. So I bought it with a quick claim deed, pretty much, where I was not paying off the mortgage. I was just going to let it ride and pay it off when I flipped it. So I got a Bowers authorization from him. He was a really good dude. It was no jeopardy of going into foreclosure because of COVID. So talked to Jay, and at that time, we were feeling that the house was we were pushing it at like 260 fixed up. All right, so he owed like 140, something like that, and he was getting, no, excuse me, he owed 160. We figured 150 plus he was behind, and we're giving him 40, so we're in it for 200 grand. And we think it was gonna appraise for 260. So long story short, talked to Jay, said, Jay, I wanna buy this house. It's a pretty easy flip. And Jay and I figured beforehand that we're gonna try to wholesale it for like 210. So I said, look, and we're doing it 50-50. What if I give you 5,000 and I take this thing over? Right, Jay? Is that what it was?
Yeah, basically.
All right. And you said that was fine with you, right?
Right.
Were you happy about that, or you wish you wouldn't have done it that way?
I was happy about that. I just wish I knew more about how to like structure deals and things like that. But I was satisfied.
Yeah.
You would have made more, Jay, if you sold it to me just for future reference. Send me your deals.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't have bought that for anyway. But
How much did you have to put into it, Todd?
well, let me get to the story. I'll tell you.
Okay.
So, yeah, anyway, so yeah, well, you seem to be really happy, Jay, when I gave you the $5,000,
Oh yeah, for sure.
right? And the risk factor was we had a risk factor because we weren't paying a mortgage. Um, things like we're buying on a quick claim deed and all that good stuff. But anyway, we ended up and we're thinking 260, but the market was great on this one. So we put in I think we put in like 40 grand is what I want to say. What we did was we had to paint this house. We had to put new vanities in, new granite. The flooring was good. We had to fix the pool, and maybe it was 30 grand because that don't seem like 40 grand. Oh yeah, we had it was a little more than I thought, but anyway, 30 grand. We had to waterproof the basement that cost us 7 grand. That was probably the one thing that we did not think we were gonna have to do. Waterproof like 3 of the walls. We did it from the inside. We put in 2 sub pumps, additional sub pumps and things like that. The clean out alone was just took like 60 yards of dumpsters, man. It was a lot. And
Is that the inspiration of your dumpster business?
yeah, no, I actually had that already. But so we're at 205 plus, let's just call it 35, 205, 240. We're in it. And so now I'm talking to people, and right before we're about to list it, I said, we're gonna list it for 275. And the day before we listed it, or no, excuse me, a couple weeks before we listed it, we seen the market changing and it was like 295. So we're making money as we're going just because it's taken us a little bit longer than we anticipated. The day before we listed it, we checked the market one more time, and a house 4 doors down, the same house, sold in one day for 315. And when that happened, we listed it at 399, if I remember correctly. I might be off. We might have listed it at 315, but I'm pretty sure we listed it at 399 if my memory serves me correct. And we ended up settling for 315 is the offer we got. And after we did an appraisal and everything else, they really did a shitty appraisal. Kind of feel like the agent and the lender were kind of hooked in together, and they knew they were going to get us a low appraisal. The appraisal came back at 300,000. And so we told them to screw off. We're going to put it back on the market. And they ended up bringing the extra money to closing. So they wanted to keep it. So that's, yeah, so we ended up getting a payoff. I use a certain title company when I do deals like this. And I have the homeowner or the seller sign certain documents from this title company that, so you really got to check deep and make sure you're not screwing up on this.
Would you say this was like a typical pre-foreclosure deal for you, or was it like a lot of hoops you had to jump through?
A typical pre-foreclosure deal, you might just pay it off. You know what I mean? You could just wholesale it and have someone pay it off.
Mm-hmm.
If we could have maybe wholesaled this, Jay, but I showed it to a few people and they just were thinking that the value was going to be under 250.
Right.
But
Yeah, that's what the market was saying at the moment.
yeah, that's what it was kind of saying. And as wholesalers, we can't, but I felt we were going to get more than that. And remember, the house was in pretty good shape, except for, we had we didn't have to do a lot of crazy rehab on this house.
Yeah.
But
did you do a big rehab or like a moderate or light?
No, it was a light rehab. It was just some vanities, some fixtures.
But that's
Stuff for ya,
painting a house that big is expensive.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, it still ended up, the basement threw us for a loop, but I got a guy, it was only like $6,000 or $7,000. It was a pretty good price on that, so. But anyway, if anyone's flipping here, and they go all over in Michigan, I was there today. Sedona Granite, I think is what they're called. Sedona Granite. Went out there, I'm working on a flip in New Hudson, and we just ordered our granite. And some places, what they do is they charge you by the square foot, right? They try to get you in at $35 a square foot. They advertise $30 a square foot. At the end of the day, if you want something nice, you're going to be paying 50, 60 bucks or bigger a square foot. Anyway, we're doing 3 bathrooms. One of the bathrooms is real long, and the kitchen, we got an island, a top bar. We got so much granite going in here. And Sedona, what they do is they charge you by the slab. All right. It's like some slabs are 1,400, some are 1,500, some are 16, some are 17. We ended up going with like this 1,400 slab, and they're able to do the whole house with 2 slabs. Okay. And we, instead of getting the circle sinks for the bathrooms, we got the square porcelain sinks in the bathrooms. They look a little bit better. And we're using a granite composite, I think they call it, if I remember correctly, black sink for the kitchen, a huge sink. Anyways, out the door with everything. Of course, I get 10% off for military. It was 3,100 bucks. So I'm
Pretty
thinking
good.
it would have been 4,500 anywhere else if they charge you by the square foot. So you could always have someone that pays by the square foot. They have remnants and things like that. Because if you have a small job, that might work out better. But if you have a big job, you might want to check out someone like that.
Hey, does anybody have a building for sale in Detroit?
I might know of one coming within the next week in Southwest Detroit.
That might be good. I might have to give you a call later on this week.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. What's up, Heater?
What's going on?
What, you working out?
Nah, I just got out the shower. You know what I'm saying? Running around with my kid all day. Had to pop in and say what's up.
Sweet.
See how everyone was doing tonight on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, I got I just drank it.
Classic.
A tequila.
Of course.
Being good. It's only one.
Right. As long